Hello there. Welcome to the very first episode of Right or Wrong, where we expose mistakes that are sabotaging your academic success. I'm Taiwo Oladoku from Delight Data Exploration, and today we'll be talking about introduction. Here's the thing. Your introduction has about 30 seconds to hook your reader. Most students blow their chances before anyone read past the first paragraph. Today, we'll be exposing the common mistakes that student makes. Even if you have a fine methodology, you have a solid conclusion, your body is well defined, if your introduction is wrong, it's usually dead on arrival. Your supervisors, examiners, and journal reviewers, they all make snap judgments based on how you start. So today, we'll be identifying those mistakes and we'll show you how you can fix them. Some students go on and say, since the beginning of time, throughout human history, or from old civilization to modern history. Stop right there. Your lecturer do not need an history lesson before they get to your actual point. What do you need to do? This screams inexperience, and it immediately tells the reader you have a difficulty in focusing. That is, you don't know how to focus. Here, what do you do? Here's a bad example. You could say, since the beginning of the universe, humans have evolved from cave painting into this and that. That's wrong. Here's what you could say. Nigerian university students spend 3 hours daily on social media but struggle to engage in online learning platform. You see, straight to the point. You need no history lesson going about history of the universe or mentioning information that are useless. Here, you write 3 paragraphs and the lecturer is still wondering, what exactly is this paper about? Your thesis should not be like a treasure hunt where you're trying to unearth what exactly is this thesis about. By the end of your introduction, your supervisor should know exactly what you're studying, why it matters, and what you found. Here's a bad example. You could say this paper examines various challenges in Nigeria education and provides various solutions. What challenges? What solution? Here's what you could say. You can say this study proves that mobile learning app increase rural students' performance by 40% and can bridge Nigeria's urban learning-rural achievement gap. You see, make it crystal clear, no guess game. Here, you throw everything you have, everything you know into the introduction. It's like you are emptying a backpack. You mention facts, statistics, quotes, definition. The list goes on, and they have no logical connection. Here's a bad example. You can say education is important, Nigeria has many universities, technology is growing, students need resources, internet access varies by region. It can just go on and on like a shopping list. You don't need to do all that. You can rather say Nigerian students in rural areas score 35% less than their urban peers. This gap widens every year because rural students lack internet access. However, mobile technology offers a solution. Very simple. That's what you need to talk about. Your introduction should tell a story. Each section should naturally flow into another. You understand? Here is a common mistake that I see many make. You're being vague about your contribution. You could say, this study will examine, this paper will explore, this study will investigate. These are weak verbs and they tell us nothing. Let's see more bad examples. You can say this study will explore the differences between technology and learning outcome. You are just exploring. What have you found out? You can say this research demonstrates that students using technological apps score 25% higher than those using traditional textbooks. Simple and clear. Be specific. Just say this study proves that, this analysis demonstrates, this study reviews. Own your contribution. Don't apologize for it. Here is a common error. You explain what you did, but not why it matters. Your reader needs to know, why is this important? Who benefits from solving it? What happens when we don't address it? For example, again, this is a bad example. You can say, this study examined teaching method in Lagos secondary school. So what? Why should I care? What should I do? Here's a better example. You can either just say, poor teaching method means 60% of Nigerian youths cannot find jobs, right? Then you go on to say, this study identified techniques that prepare students for today's competitive job market. If you cannot explain why your research matters, why should anyone care? So you make the stakes clear from the very beginning. Now this is a bonus tip. Master the funnel approach. I learned this when I was in school. You can start broad, then narrow down to your specific focus. Then we're told it meant starting from general to specific. Think of it like a funnel. Wide at the top, narrow at the bottom. Examples. You can say educational technologies transform learning worldwide. Nigeria, with 200 million mobile users, offers unique opportunities. However, rural students lag 40% behind their urban peers. This study examines how mobile apps can bridge this gap. You see what I did? I mentioned worldwide, I mentioned Nigeria, and I mentioned rural, which is my main focus. So it's like a funnel approach. Worldwide, Nigeria, then the specific. Did you also notice the statistics? The numbers I mentioned that makes your argument credible? I mentioned 200 million and I mentioned 40%. That's also very important in writing statistics. Remember to use it very well. So there you have it. 5 introduction mistakes that kill your papers. In summary, what have you learned? In very simple ways. Avoid the history lesson. Make your thesis crystal clear. Create logical flow. Own your contribution and show why it matters. And lastly, use the funnel approach with strategic statistics. Fix these things and watch your supervisors start taking your work very seriously. Next Friday, we'll be back with Academically Speaking, where we'll discuss the secrets to academic authority. Until then, this is Right or Wrong, helping you write right.